I love storms. I love the way that thunder rumbles. I love a streak of lightning across a dark sky. My friend Crystal hates storms. A few years ago, she huddled over children as a tornado ripped through the church where she and her husband pastored. That storm tore apart the church building. It damaged their home. It robbed them of their possessions. The difference between my love of storms and her dislike of them is her experience. We experience storms of every kind, and if you're in a storm right now, it might be overwhelming, and maybe you feel like no one understands. In Luke chapter 8, the disciples and Jesus are in a boat. Jesus was so exhausted that he fell asleep within minutes of pulling away from the shore. A storm whipped out of nowhere, and it was violent. The disciples went and woke him up, shouting, "Master, Master, we're going to drown." In Mark chapter 4, verse 39, the first part of that verse, it says, when Jesus woke up, he rebuked the wind and said to the waves, "Silence, be still." There's two things I notice in this story. And one, the disciples are afraid. If you're in the midst of a storm, especially one that you didn't see coming, if you're battling illness or your finances are collapsing or your marriage is in trouble, whatever that storm might look like, it's okay to acknowledge that it's hard. We all need a safe place to say those words. And sometimes when someone says that they're in a storm, we're tempted to fix it when we may not be equipped to fix it. Or we dismiss it, throwing out a pithy statement like, well, there's a reason for everything, to someone who is battling a storm. We need to give a sacred place, a safe place to each other to say, this is hard. Words like there's a reason for everything can add a greater burden because they can't see a good reason for the unexpected storm. We aren't asked to fix it. We aren't required to put a verbal Band-Aid on a situation, but we can shout for Jesus together and we can hang on with them until they reach the other side. Did you know that sometimes our greatest surprises come in our greatest storms? That's happened in my personal life as I have leaned into those who came to surround us during that storm. We discover a safe place to say, "Pray for me. Hang out with me for a bit until the storm subsides." I will never know how my friend Crystal feels when the skies get dark, but I can pray with her. The second thing I notice in this story is that Jesus addressed the one who caused their fear. The word "still" that Jesus used means to silence, and actually it means to muzzle. Jesus demanded that the violent winds be muzzled. But he wasn't just talking to the storm. He was addressing an enemy that dared to place fear in the heart of his disciples. They had just finished an amazing day of ministry. They had just seen miracles performed. He had assured them that they were going to the other side. The enemy, the same enemy that comes against us, tried his best to make them think that this was lost. The enemy tried his best to make them think that all was lost. Jesus assured his disciples that even as he slept, the power within him wasn't at rest. So what is our come with me invitation in an unexpected storm? It's a reminder that the church needs to be a safe place for those in a storm. We don't have to pretend that it's easy, and we don't have to fix each other, but we can be there for each other. And then there's our personal invitation. Is that the one who settles the violent winds, the one who stills the winds that come against us? He can still our hearts. He's fighting for us. He stands against the one who tries to steal our peace. And he is in the storm with us every step of the way.